By popular demand, my interpretation of the debt ceiling. Hello and thank you for watching. Has anyone ever watched a scary movie and was afraid to fall asleep at night? I mean, it's not real. Freddy Krueger didn't really get burned alive just to come back and kill a bunch of kids. And I don't care what you say about that doll, Annabelle, she isn't real. But still, here I am, waiting for my wife to join me in bed, just in case. That's what the debt ceiling is to many of us. A scary movie that would almost never happen in real life. But if the debt ceiling was real and we did default, what would happen? The truth is, nobody truly knows what will happen because it's never happened before. The closest we've come to the debt ceiling not being lifted was in 2011. Stocks went down considerably. Our country's credit rating was knocked down, not much, but a notch. And 4 months later, it was like nothing ever happened. Everything went back to the way it was. But Ruben, what if the debt ceiling didn't get lifted this time? Okay, I'll play your silly game. We do think we know a couple of things that would happen. First, salaries and benefits for federal and government employees, including military and contractors, would not be paid. Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, all those payments would stop. Tax refunds, that's not happening. All things federal government could not stay open, obviously. Also, the perception of value that the dollar has, it'd be gone, which means our money would not be worth as much because we can't pay our bills. Then that would tank our stock markets. Interest rates would have to be risen to a much higher level than it already is now, and to ensue a colossal recession would occur. Also, the rest of the world, it invests in America because the U.S. always pays its debts. If we default, there goes a huge amount of foreign investment. Listen, Treasury bonds tend to pay a low yield in almost all cases. That's because they're guaranteed. Less risk, less reward. However, it's a guaranteed reward. That's what makes them so attractive. If the debt ceiling didn't get lifted and we can't pay back the yield from our bonds, then all of a sudden those bonds are no longer guaranteed. Now there's no incentive to buy treasury bonds, and treasury bonds is a big part of how we fund this government. And yeah, that whole thing that I just mentioned, it all sounds super scary, just like that scary movie. But let me explain why this is only a movie and not real life. First, the debt ceiling has never been realized. For example, when you buy a stock, one of the first things that they should teach you, or that you should be taught, is that gains are not real until you've realized that stock, meaning cashed out the stock. If I buy a stock for $6, then it jumps up to $10. That would sound like a $4 gain. But then the next day, the stock market goes down to $8, right? Then I get scared of losing even more money. So now I sell the stock or realize that stock. You see, when the stock was at $10, that wasn't real unless I exercised my right to sell. Until something happens, the stock isn't real. The same goes with the debt ceiling. Until the debt ceiling actually proves that it's there to maintain the debt and pretend that we're fiscally responsible, it doesn't mean anything. And how do I prove this? Because we voted to raise the debt ceiling 78 times since 1960, right? Every time we're about to hit the ceiling, we just vote to move the goalpost, meaning it's not really a ceiling, it's a suggestion. Second, the only two countries in the world that have a debt ceiling is the United States and Denmark. That's it. Although Denmark's ceiling isn't really real either. And the reason why is because it's set so high that they'll never hit the ceiling, right? So it's non-existent for the most part. While our debt ceiling, it needs to be voted on pretty much every year, sometimes twice in a year. That's ridiculous. Third, Congress acts as if the debt ceiling isn't real, meaning Congress votes to spend money that we don't have to later vote on obtaining more debt in order to pay the money that we've already spent. For an average American, that's like saying, I'm going to buy a car now because next year I know I'm going to get a raise. For Congress, they're saying they're going to spend the money now because next year we know we're going to ask for more money and it's going to get approved, thereby making the debt ceiling a pretend concept. And finally, why this debt ceiling thing will never happen is because no Congress wants to be the Congress that turns this scary movie and makes it into a real life crisis. I hope this video was informative, and please remember, life's not meant to be, it's meant to create. Too strong.